My personal experience with wise freedom started when I ran away from home 2 years ago during my sophomore year. I was falling behind in school and started to lose hope that I could keep up. At that point in my life, I was hanging out with the wrong people and making the wrong decisions. I was faced with the decision to either give up on my family, friends, and education by not seeking help, or take the hard way and find out how to better myself through a wilderness excursion. I made the decision to have my parents send me away to Red Cliff Ascent, a wilderness program in St. George, Utah. I spent about 2 months battling the elements and my inner demons. There were still many important decisions to be made in the Utah wilderness. Considering that this was a type of rehabilitation program, as a patient, there were still large amounts of freedom. For example, about 8 out of 10 kids would get sent to another treatment program for a duration of a year. The other two would be sent home to their families. The odds of me going home were slim, but I had to stay committed if I wanted to see my family. One moment that I remember in particular was trying to dig a foot-long fire pit with a stick on a frozen ground. It took me everything I had not to lash out and give up. Then I asked myself, how can I follow the goal of wise freedom? I continued to dig that hole until it was completely ready for a big fire. The level of dedication I had to the program reflected the initial outcome, and after 9 weeks in the wilderness of Utah, I returned home stronger than ever. I knew that when I came home, I could not make my loved ones change for the better, but I knew I could be a significant inspiration to them. I no longer looked at myself as the weak one in need or the boy crying out for attention. Instead, I am the one who helps those who are in need of guidance and support. My family had supported me for so long, and now it was time for me to support them. Finishing the program did not mean that I had obtained my highest potential. In reality, it was a time in my life where I worked hard to find that part of me that was most happy, efficient, and healthy. Completing the program did not automatically mend my cracked relationships or destroy my risky habits. The program simply gave me skills I needed to live a healthy and productive life. The Sacred Heart education has taught me that in order to have a fulfilling life, one must be happy with themselves. In order for one to be happy with themselves, they must face challenges in their lives. Two great examples of fulfilled people from the RSCJ heritage are Madeline Sophie Barrett and Rose Philippine Duchesne. Madeline Sophie Barrett lived from 1779 to 1895. She founded the Society of the Sacred Heart, which encouraged the education of women, both rich and poor, in 19th century France. Madeline's restoration of Christianity in France inspired many to follow her in her footsteps. The Society of the Sacred Heart expanded throughout Europe and beyond. Sophie Barrett was a very kind person who loved expanding and enriching her relationships with people. Rose Philippine Duchesne lived from 1769 to 1852, and she helped bring the Society of the Sacred Heart to the United States. She worked with Madeline Sophie from 1804 until 1818, when she was able to travel to New Orleans to help spread the teachings of the Society in the New World. She helped found the Academy of the Sacred Heart in St. Charles, Missouri, which became the first Catholic school west of the Mississippi. She continued to help open schools until her death in 1852. Stuart Hall has shown me that anything that is worth being happy about is expected to be difficult. People have a responsibility as eternal students to decide for themselves if they want to take a rigorous path with challenges or an easy path that doesn't amount to much. Stuart Hall High School was founded in 2000 and it was named after Janet Erskine Stuart, who wrote several important texts for the Society of the Sacred Heart. Janet Erskine Stuart set out on a journey to find her life's worth at the age of 13. This journey ultimately took about 7 years. She ended up finding herself at the Catholic Church. She then joined the Society of the Sacred Heart. At the height of her religious career, Janet Erskine Stuart set out to visit every Society of the Sacred Heart throughout the world. Janet Erskine Stuart's dedication and hard work reflects the prosperous education of Stuart Hall High School. Stuart Hall High School teaches its students to push their limits in life, to try something new, and learn how to be okay with the discomfort of possibly failing. The rigorous education and challenging athletics, such as track and field. But most important of all, There are inspiring faculty who are there to guide us through the successes and failures. I truly believe that out of all of the goals and criteria of the Sacred Heart, Goal 5 is the most important. This goal states, schools of the Sacred Heart commit themselves to educate to personal growth in an atmosphere of wise freedom. Goal 5 is based around wise freedom. This means that when an individual is given space to learn and thrive, they will make decisions that will constantly better themselves. This goal teaches us that we must have wise freedom at all times, even when things get hard. Wise freedom is the basis for all of the goals and criteria. If we can't control ourselves and make healthy decisions, we as people can't thrive in any way. The sixth Catholic social teaching principle of solidarity is fully engraved into Stuart Hall High School. I figured this out when I had my first day at Stuart Hall High School as a freshman. I was a frightened 8th grade boy who worried mostly about the social aspects of high school. Luckily, I came to find that Stuart Hall is one large family that welcomes all. I am and forever will be proud to have been part of the Sacred Heart education.